Hello, my name's Adam from Hubspoke Media, and if you don't know me, I set up Hubspoke Media in 2016, and we've been trading, working with all kinds of different businesses, helping them with their marketing and media. Today, I'm delighted to present to you our first installment of what is On The Biz. On The Biz is going to be helping business owners run their business and providing insight with the idea that they can get meaningful education and content that hopefully will help them run their business. So today we're going to jump straight into our social media 101, and we're going to break down the essentials for what you need to understand when you are delivering social media content for your business. So without further ado, I'm going to jump straight into the presentation. We will get that on screen now, and what we're going to be looking at first is the ever-changing world on social media. The things that we find with our clients and customers is often they don't know where to start. We have got Instagram, we have got Threads, we've got Snapchat, we've got TikTok, we've got a whole host of content. Things have been changing with Twitter as we record this. It is the year 2025. Twitter changed a couple of years ago, and we've seen huge changes in the Twitter sphere. And as at the time of recording, and yes, I am dating it, TikTok has just been banned in America, and obviously there is a movement to potentially overturn that ban. So social media can be a real challenge, and it's hard to navigate. But how we do it is we need to change with the times, and we need to make sure that we're embracing the changes and also that we're working, because at the end of the day, we're trying to market our clients, and if you're running your business, you need to change too. It's not just delivering your social media content in the same way. So basically, you need to establish a couple of things, right? The first thing that we find people struggle with is what is content. So content, generally, people, what they tend to do is they're basically trying to just say, buy our product, buy our service, and then they'll do another post which says, buy our product, buy our service, and then there'll be another post which says, buy our product, buy our service. That isn't the social element of social media. The way you need to embrace social media is, yes, you are a business. Yes, there is absolutely a commercial outcome that you're looking for. But what you need to do is think about how you say the same things in different ways. And that is exactly what we do for a business. So first of all, you need to think about the niche of your business. Where does your business sit? What does the services, the products that you offer? And then how can you create content around that? The beautiful thing about social media is there are loads of people out there doing great examples of content every time. What are the recurring messages? What are the things that you do need to say again? For us, we've been selling marketing media services for 8 years, coming up 9. We still have to say, come and buy our service, come and buy our photography sessions, come and buy our video. But you can do it in such a more meaningful and deliberate way, in the sense that isn't just a cold, faceless sell and people switch off to that message. Trending content, another one. People don't know which trends they should jump on or how to apply trends. TikTok is a really good example of all the trends that we're seeing. Currys at present are one of the best at doing it, in terms of you go and have a look at their TikTok account and you'll see a whole host of videos surrounding their content, and it's anything from meme type content with a funny clip which they edit in off the back to anything like just the general trends that they may film in situ on site together, just using their own content. So they're taking external factors, incorporating into their social media marketing, but also delivering stuff in-house. The biggest challenge I actually find with customers and clients, especially if they're a small business owner, is putting themselves into the business. As a business owner, you've got to do it nowadays. You've got to, whether it's your staff, your team, faces are the thing that does it. And this takes me on to the next thing, personality. So important to get your personality. That can include humor. It doesn't mean you have to do silly things, and I'd think carefully about what meme and trending content that you get involved with, and also kind of you can amplify the sense of humor that you have in your workplace. So myself and the team, the content we post is in line with our sense of humor. We're not sensationalizing content and using it because we think we're going to get a quick return in terms of views and likes. And also, it's got to be relatable and humane. Okay, so we've got to make sure that what we're doing is responsible and we're jumping on the correct trends and doing things for the right reasons. But ultimately, and this is where we mainly have a job, is professional high quality graphics and imagery. Taking the time, you can spend quite a while creating design work for social media content only for it to get a few views. But actually, in order to stand out from the crowd and stand out from your competitors, it's really important to make sure that you're putting high quality images, graphics and videos out. As an example of this, I'm sat in Darlington Stream Space, the podcast room today, because I want to make sure that you can see what we're doing correctly. You can also hear me in a professional manner. And hopefully, it's up to you, but hopefully you find this professional. Mixed content, Reels are fantastic for getting found by non-followers, especially on Instagram. And then obviously TikTok content, they are feeding views out across the platform. You've also got carousels, stories, go live, and photos. What we're seeing at the moment as we record is photos are actually getting less engagement. So you really have to start thinking on your feet and mixing the types of content. If you're just posting the same stuff all the time, same style of content, whether it's a reel or a carousel, that will get boring to the audience. So you need to think about your end user at the end of the day. So consistency is key. Okay. Quite often we've had people want to engage us in services. We then see a flurry on their activity while they're potentially going, actually, we might do this ourselves. But the consistency is the most important thing. And often we will see that content, whilst you might be able to do something for 3 weeks, it's really hard. It could be like a new exercise program or anything like that. You've got to sustain it to actually get the results. And marketing is exactly the same. When it comes to posting content, we work on the ACEs acronym. Basically, action, encouraging followers to take action. So you could be putting polls out, content like that, where you're asking them to contribute to the content that you ultimately will then turn around off their comments and then create. Community, sharing stories, success, case studies, testimonies. Community is a huge element. You could also be celebrating the staff that you have in the organization and the achievements that they're doing. But equally, when we come back to that humor content, community is really a good place for that to happen. So think about the community elements that you can do, and that is for the community. So it could be saying to somebody, hey, look at these guys, they've done a really good job at this. Or here's a really good example of what you do in your field. You can actually use it to be, just think neighborly in terms of the social media space. Expertise, that is exactly what this is today. It's thought leadership. It's thinking about how we present our knowledge to the audience and hopefully be of benefit. And if you're watching this, hopefully you'll find out some interesting insights in what you take. So you've got expertise type posts that you can be doing, sharing knowledge, case studies, experience. You can equally share negative experiences as well. What did you learn? An example today was someone's used an AI image that I've seen elsewhere, and the people in the image have got 6 fingers. Okay, so what have I learned? Well, we really need to be thinking about, I haven't done it personally, but we need to be thinking about what we do with AI. And then sales, that is 10% compared to the 90% of content that you should be doing. So that is every now and then going, hey, buy our product, buy our service, come and take part, sign up. Okay, everything else should be more engaging and more interesting. Ultimately, the sales one is always the hard one to get engagement for. And this is where, when we see people that are new to social media marketing, they spend all their time in the sales. Really, you need to be spending 90% of your time in the action, community, and expertise. And then 10% of your time needs to be sales. Easy way of looking at it is 1 post a week could be, hey, buy our thing. Okay. Next slide. So with that in mind, we talk about planning. Okay. So consistency is key. You wouldn't just want your sales post to say go out on a Friday and then say you had the weekend off. You weren't scheduled over the weekend. You then have Monday is your next sales post. What you need to start doing is thinking about how you do it. Okay, so if we look at this calendar on the right-hand side here, we have an example with all the letters. Obviously, they're all jumbled up, but that is the ACEs letters. So if we look at Monday, for example, we've got sales post. The following week, it will be the community post, and the following week, it will be the action post, and the following week, it will be the expertise post. And actually, one of the things that people struggle with is content plan doing it. If you know those different pillars of content that you have, you can easily go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then jumble the things around. And then you can work out what posts you should be putting when. And also it spaces it out. Equally, once you've done that, what you can do is test and measure how that content goes with your audience. Adam the other Adam posted a video on our Instagram recently. For some reason, our analytics data, and you take this with a pinch of salt, was showing that everyone was active on Instagram at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, no other time in the week. So there was obviously a blip in the system. But if that was genuine data and Wednesday was a key point at 3 p.m., we should probably be thinking about what post is going out at that time. And maybe we make the agreement that we're going to do our community post at that time because more people are there. So whilst you look at the table like that and it's full of letters and it looks complicated, it is literally set in A, C, E, and S in the different columns, and then you've literally sort of already developed an outline content plan. You've just got to come up with the content. When should I be posting? Just touched on that. So this is some of the times where we do have data for our Instagram account, which is not just stuck at 3 p.m. on a Wednesday afternoon. It shows you a heat map on when people are. Now, that doesn't mean that you necessarily should post right in the middle of those slots. You need to think of the lead-in time. You also need to think of the type of message that you're sending. If I'm posting out an educational piece of content on a Monday, as you look here, I'm probably better off doing that on a Monday morning first thing, with the idea that people are in the mindset of working, people are going to work, and actually they might want to learn something. On an evening, they might not be as interested because they've had a busy day in the office and they're just wanting to relax. So what we can do is we can look at when people are engaging, and then we can basically position our content to meet that. I often think about, do I want to email somebody first thing on a Monday morning after they've had a holiday? No. Because I'm just going to be in a backlog of emails. So what I would do is hold off. Obviously, if I need to speak to them urgently, I ring them. But if I need to speak to them urgently, that's a different matter. Instead, what I'll do is I'll wait. I'll think about how long do I think it'll take them to clear their inbox, do this. I'd often email them on the Tuesday to give people chance to get back into work. So I'm always thinking about what the audience member that I'm trying to contact is doing at the other end and what they're looking for. So Instagram. This is a basic example, and you can take this across your social media platforms in terms of what you need to be doing. There's no right or wrong way to do it, but what you can see here, and I'll start top left, if we've got it on full screen here, is you'll see that the red arrow is coming in and we've got story highlights. These are the graphics circles that you can see there. What you can actually do is create little graphics using tools like Canva, Photoshop, things like this. And that can be the cover for your highlights. Now, this is a great reason to post stories. If you post stories and you turn on the archive feature, what you can then do is go back through your stories and divide them out. So on this case, we've got our podcast, our work, meet the team, stream space, which is the podcast studio, and you can work through like that. What we can then do is systematically review when we've been posting stories. We can then go and catalog them and update them in effect so people can click on those and actually find out some more specific. So if it's stuff about our work, you'd just put your case study examples in there that you've posted on your stories. This also makes you accountable and makes sure that you do that. So that's a really good reason to do that, first of all. Multimedia, this is what I was talking about. So if you look on the bottom left-hand side of the grid there, we've got social media trends. That is a carousel post. That is an outdated screen grab there. It's 2023. Anyway, that is an outdated screen grab. We've obviously just lifted that from there. Make sure your stuff's up to date. We've then got pictures of, so there's case study work there, for example, where there's a photograph of some amazing burgers I might add, and no, I didn't get to eat them. And then there's a picture of me on the side, and it would go like that through the reel. So through the grid, you'd then have a reel, say, you'd then have some more case study work. You might have a picture of the team in the office doing something, or on a job, or on site. Really important. So if you're following that ACES framework and then looking at your content calendar and doing those different pillars, naturally you will start doing that. And equally, you can be thinking about, when am I doing a post? When am I doing a story? When am I doing a carousel? When am I doing a reel? Regular posting, this is what I've touched on, the scheduling. The most important thing is your stuff doesn't have to be the most polished content in the world. By posting regularly, what it does is it generates a loyal following. It also provides you with a bit of narrative in terms of showing people that you're busy, you're active, and you're doing things. Part of the problem businesses face is that actually having the time to do the work, and this is where the whole on the biz principle comes apart. As business owners, you spend time, or managers, you spend time on the business and you spend time in the business. In the business is selling your product or service. So ours would be delivering a social media post, taking some photographs, recording a podcast. Right now, what I'm doing is technically on the business. I'm looking at how we develop, we could be using this as training for our staff, for example. It's developing things for the business, for the future of the business, and that's what On The Biz is all about. So regular posting is the thing that I see impacts people the most when they're working in their business, delivering their products, because they've been so busy serving their customers and clients, they haven't actually had time to then do the marketing and the social media that needs to go alongside it. So it's important that you get into the mindset of, we're going to put the schedule in place, we're going to vary the content, and we're going to make the real effort to commit to that and do that. And actually, if you're just storytelling what's going on, it always helps. Linktree is a fantastic tool. It's free to use, and you can also get the premium things. What that allows you to do is put a link in your profile, like at the top there. People can click on that, and from that link in our profile, they can access our show reel. They can contact us direct, and they can also get a link through to the website. It's just a nicer way of doing it. You don't have to use the premium features. We've just chosen to. So here's an example of the different Instagram album covers that we've done for clients in the past. So there's various covers for different things, and obviously with the branding associated there. We tend to go for the icon look quite often rather than using, you can just use the picture from the story. But what we try and do is use a bit of iconography to kind of just summarize what each area is. So it could be FAQ, about us, our work, meet the team. Platforms. Okay, so here's an example on how we've worked with different brands across multiple platforms. There's loads of opportunities out there with social media. Part of the problem is there's so many platforms. You need to work across the different things. So we've seen the Instagram example. We've got another Instagram example there. We've got Facebook, and we've got LinkedIn that you can see there. Now, what you can see is regardless of these are different brands and different companies, the approach and content and the layout is consistent across the different platforms. So when you're working on your social media profiles, make sure you're populating the about info. Make sure that you're using correctly formatted images. Too often we see grainy images, and make sure that you're putting cover art, which is the banner. If you look at the Orange Sales and Lettings example, it is the banner that is relevant to that. And also remember that when you've got cover art in, the logo for the social media profile often covers. So if you look at the Orange Sales and Lettings one, which is Facebook, you'll see there that it covers the cover art quite in a large format, especially on phone. If you look at the Hubspoke Media one on LinkedIn, so that's a LinkedIn page, you'll see that only half of the logo slides onto the screen. So it's bearing that in mind for multiple devices. So take time to do it. In terms of top platforms that we recommend, absolutely Instagram, absolutely Facebook. They come hand in hand. LinkedIn pages, definitely, especially if you're a professional service. And if you have a LinkedIn account, regardless, that's really important. You should be providing narrative on your experiences and what you're doing. It's a great way to connect with people. Think of it as a digital business card. And do that way. The other advantage is if you connect with someone on LinkedIn rather than giving them a business card, when you give someone a business card, they take your data, and then you are reliant on them to contact you. If you connect with them on LinkedIn, you've established a connection and essentially a dialogue. What I wouldn't do is connect with them and then hit them up from work unless they've said, could you send me some stuff on LinkedIn about the work? I get that all the time. And you'll find that you just start losing connections as well. So basically, that is the initial insight into Social Media 101. We are looking at doing more workshops for our customers and clients, and we have developed workshops on how to create better content, how to create videos, podcasting, going live, all these sorts of things. If you want to know more, keep an eye out on the Hubspoke Media channels. We are in the process of launching On The Biz at present, and more information will follow. Hope that's been useful, and if you've got any questions, please leave a note in the comments.